Good afternoon, lovely people. Happy Friday. Happy payday. For those who get paid, weekly? Yeah. Happy payday. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. It's the beginning of the weekend, right? Am I correct? I think I am. I think I am. How are you lovelies doing today? I hope that you all are doing great, doing fabulous. I hope that the new year started off excellente for everyone. We're at day 6? Am I correct? Day 6? Yeah, I think it's day 6. Man, the time is going by so quickly. It's so hard to keep track of the days, but it's happening. It's happening. We're almost at the first week, or close to the end of the first week. And so it has been, boy, I don't think I've yet fully recovered from the exhaustion of the holidays, over the Christmas holidays, but I am here grateful and trying to get my entire being ready for back to school, which will be soon, next week, I think. Yeah, about next week, somewhere thereabout. And so I'm happy though today that I'm able to sit and meet with you all today. I'm glad I got the opportunity to sit and meet with you all. This is my second time meeting with you all since September, August, somewhere thereabout. And so I'm happy that I got the chance, or I'm getting the chance to do these streams before I get back into school, because when school begins again, I'm not sure how often or if I'll be able to meet with you, because school is a real thing, a real thing. But yeah, nonetheless, I am happy for every experience. I'm happy for all the different moments, the different seasons, the challenges. I cannot say so much that I'm happy for them while I'm in it, but when I pass through it, or I get to the end of the challenges, I look back and say, it was rough or tough, but I made it. And through the challenges I gain strength, and through the challenges I also gain some opportunity, as well as knowledge, and get to see some of the skills or the talents or gifts that I've been given by God. And so I'm super grateful. I may say it sounds like I might not be so, but I am grateful nonetheless. And so today I'm gonna be talking about cost versus benefit, or cost versus benefit. Now, cost versus benefit are two components of what is what you call this now, is something that is sought by, or studied by psychologists under the theory called social exchange theory. Now, social exchange theory in psychology postulates that all relationships are formed by a cost and benefit analysis. Now, this may not be so new to some of us, because we're seeing this truth being showcased daily, every day, in the different relationships that we're in, whether it be spousal, friendships, or work relationships, in our families, in our church families too, the different relationships that we are a part of, there are costs and there are also benefits to these relationships that we engage in. Now, in Jamaica, we have a say that goes, exchange is no robbery. And while I was thinking to do this podcast today, I thought to myself, exchange is no robbery. This may not be so true, because, we could exchange different things and we may either be benefiting or it may be costing us. One may be greater than the other. And the real truth is, in life, none of us, absolutely none of us, really wants anything to cost us more than it is benefiting us, right? And so we would rather to be gaining than losing, or benefiting rather than it's been costing us, right? But at some point, the different relationships that we engage in may cost us one way or another. And so today I want to do this stream to encourage us, to encourage you, and to encourage myself, and to just remind us that the relationships that we find ourselves in, the different types of relationships that I made mention, we have to be mindful. We ought to be mindful in how we go about choosing them. Some months ago, I did a stream on covenant relationships, I believe. It was the title of it. I'm not quite sure of the name. I don't quite remember if that's correct, but I'll put it in the description below so that you can go over and stream that one. But needless to say, going back to the Jamaican saying that says exchange is no robbery, this may not be correct in its entirety according to the social exchange theory. What do I mean by this? Exchange is no robbery. Now, we exchange different things in relationships. Now, there may be some kind of a robbery going on, because sometimes you may be giving more than you're receiving, or you may be receiving more than you're giving. No, that would not be fair. No, there is something in the social exchange theory that states that if the cost and benefit are equal, then there is equity. But the truth is, if there's more cost than there is benefit, then it is more than likely for the relationships to be severed. It's more than likely for the relationships to break apart. It's more than likely for the relationships to end. Now, sometimes we may find ourselves in relationships, and let's start with spousal relationships now. We may find ourselves in spousal relationships and we're saying to ourselves that, give it some more time, things will improve, things will get better, it can work, it will work out. And you may be doing everything possible to see to it that it does work. But for one reason or another, when you do the, what's that thing called? When you do your Excel sheet, no, I'm just throwing this in here. Excel sheet really has nothing to do with what I'm saying. But when we're doing our budget, we're really looking, our Excel sheet, we're really looking to see, where does the expenses lies. How great the expenses were, what our revenues look like, what our incomes look like, what the commissions look like, what the expenditure, what all these things looks like when we do our real budget, right? And in the very same way, if we're to do an Excel sheet in our relationships and we look and see that, I've been putting way more into this relationship than I've been receiving. Now, you ought to sit and think greatly about that. And you ought to see where the balance is in that relationship. You have to see, if there's any form of equity in that relationship, right? And some of the things that make in spousal relationships, some of the things that may these relationships may cost us. It may cost us our peace. It may cost us to lose, you know, the, what shall I say, to lose the true identity. Because sometimes as individuals, get lost in relationships. They forget who they are, or they consume the other individual so much that they forget who they are, that they no longer know what their purpose is, that they no longer care for themselves and love upon themselves like they ought to. And also in spousal relationships too, sometimes it may be costing some of us our physical beauty. What do I mean by that is sometimes individuals may be experiencing physical abuse, and I made mention in us 3 months ago of myself having experienced that when I was pretty young in a relationship, right? And so that was costing me. And some individuals, I may not have experienced it to the extent where some females may have been abused and they have been so badly beaten that their physical man has been battered in a way that they have to be in the hospital and be getting treatment because there are internal damages or a broken limb, or sometimes it even gets worse than that, right? And also it may cost us, you know, the physical beauty too, in the sense that sometimes individuals get so lost in relationships, or it's costing them so much that they become so stressed or distressed, and they no longer want to take care of themselves. They now isolate themselves, you know, they're not eating properly, sleeping properly and stuff like that, right? Sometimes it gets so bad that individuals have to get professional help to, you know, aid in them coming back to life, right? And for friendships, sometimes friendships too sometimes can cost us more than we're benefiting. And I've also made mention in that stream that I made mention about covenant relationships, that relationships that has been assigned by God, no, they won't deplete you, they won't take away from you, they will be adding value to you, they will be adding value to your life, they will be increasing you one way or another. Now this is what I'm talking about when I say benefit. And for example, when we're in healthy relationships, whether it be spousal or friendships or work relationships or you know, family relationships, they will better us, they will aid us in being better individuals, whether it be mentally, physically, psychologically, spiritually, financially, all these different areas in which relationships are supposed to aid in adding value to us. Now when it comes to benefits too, there are so many different things that I could hit on, that there are scriptures that talks about, you know, the benefits that we reap from relationships. And there's a scripture in Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verses 11, I believe, that talks about, you know, one alone cannot keep himself warm. It is two who has to keep himself warm. One alone cannot walk and in agreement with himself. It takes two to be in real and true agreement. No one man can build up a house, whether it be a physical house or a family. No one man can do that. When I say man, no, I'm not attaching it to any gender, right? And it takes more than one to achieve these things. And so this is what we talk about, or I'm talking about, when I make mention of the benefits that we may reap. Now benefits when you're in a relationship, be it married or you're in a, what's that called, common law relationship, there are some benefits to gain from that, right? Some persons though, or some woman may feel comfortable in settling to being the side woman. Now, there's a stream that I had done months ago talking about being the sweetheart, and I once was there, so I know exactly what I'm saying, you know. And sometimes a woman may feel comfortable in settling in being that woman on the side, but being the woman on the side, there's no true benefit. There's absolutely no true benefit. Yes, you may get some money to pay your bills, to do this, to do your hair, to do something. Maybe you're not even getting any money at all to do anything of such, right? And you know, you may even say, oh, I prefer to be the woman on the side because then I don't have to deal with all the responsibilities or the troubles of that really of a committed relationship, and the man can just go back home to his wife when he's done. But the truth be told is, if something should happen, and I'm being serious now, can you call that man, if he's with his wife, can you call that man if when you really need him in the late night, if you're not feeling well, if you just need someone to talk to? And I remember years ago, a friend of mine was dating someone who was married, and we used to laugh about it so many times, you know. We used to joke about it. And when we think about it, then when there are certain functions, the woman on the side is not the one who is being taken there. Some women on the side who may be watching this stream or who may come across this stream may disagree. You may say, well, you're the sweetheart, you're the woman on the side, and you have been to functions that husbands would take wives. Now, that may happen because I do know of such an instance. However, you're not the one who is in the forefront. You're not the one who is being identified as Mrs. You're not the one who is being identified as the mother of my children, my wife. This is a woman I'm spending my entire life with. No, I'm not sticking any pin here to just talk about being married. Sure, not everyone desires to be married, but for those who desires to be married, let me just say this right here. You don't have to settle anymore to being that side woman and to be experiencing more costs than you are experiencing benefits. The other day I was coming home and I was just smiling, and I said, God, easy, I said, look where you take my life from. Look where you have taken my life from settling in being the woman on the side, to being a missus, to being a wife, to being that good thing, to being this virtuous woman, to being this woman of worth, to being this woman of value, to being this woman of purpose, to being this woman who is now walking in value and victory. And I was just smiling, and I was looking at certain things, and I was like, looking at the different ways in which God has been blessing me, is blessing me, and still blessing me. And when I think about being married, I was just looking at the different things or the different ways in which I've been benefiting, from and benefiting in. And I was thinking to myself, when I was settling, the relationship was costing me way more than it was, benefiting. And so I want you today to ask yourself, what are the costs in this relationship? And when I say relationship, I'm not only talking about spousal, as I made mention. I'm talking also about friendships. I'm talking about your work relationship. And for a work relationship now, you could be getting a lot of money for your pay, but at the end of the day, you're not happy. At the end of the day, it could be taking away more time from you and your family than you are gaining time with your family. Because you do have persons who they would say that they're working and they're doing all of this, putting the time into the job so that they can earn enough to take care of the family, when truth be told, the family is not really getting the quality time with the individuals, because of the work. So maybe you should think about it, weigh the odds this year. Think about, the work relationships. Think about, what the costs are, and also there are other things, because on some jobs too, there are things that some individuals benefit from their workplaces, and this could be health insurance, life insurance. It could just be giving them a weekend for being, one of the, recognizing the staff for being, very committed and, loyal, and you name it, right? And but again, as I made mention, you could be gaining all of this, but you're not happy because the boss could be very disrespectful, or it could be that the work environment is just not healthy. It's toxic. Yeah. Now, also think about the family relationships that there are. Are they costing you? And if it is costing you, if these relationships are costing you, ask yourself the question: how can I lower the costs, or what way in which can I experience more benefits than costs, right? There are also the benefits question that you should ask yourselves. What are the benefits I am experiencing? What are the benefits that I am partaking of? Or what are the benefits I would love to partake of, or partake in, or experience? And so today I want you to think about this. Year after year after year, a lot of us would say, we're not gonna allow certain things to repeat itself. We're not gonna do this, and this is what we're gonna do, and that is what we're gonna do, and so on and so forth. But then we find ourselves slip back into the old nature, the old patterns, the old man. Remember last week too, I talked about the cycles, cycles, or the circles, or the seasons that we may be in our experience, and there's a difference on how we can identify the differences and what we need to do. Now, in the very same way, for this stream, I want to encourage you to sit, do some introspection, real introspection, and allow yourself to process the different things and see, the relationships that you're in that has been so toxic, the relationships that has been costing you more than they have been benefiting you. Ask yourself this question: what do I need to do now? How can I go about it? What relationships do I need to sever? What are the things that I need to do to lessen the costs? And if it is that you need to walk away, and you have to walk away, if it is that you have to say bye-bye to the friendships, bye-bye to the spousal relationships, bye-bye to the work relationships, bye-bye to some of the family relationships, then you may very well have to do what needs to be done if it is costing you more than it is benefiting you. And if you break even, that would even be sweeter, because it is good to know in this life that the relationships that we find ourselves in, of whatever nature, that it's a two-way street, that we're I'm giving and receiving. You are giving and you are receiving. So think about the saying again. Exchange is no robbery. Exchange can sometimes very well be robbery. So today I just want to leave this with you and say to you, think about it. Think about the social exchange theory and ask yourselves, where am I gaining? Am I gaining more than I'm losing? Am I benefiting more than it's costing me, or vice versa? And it's no sin. It's nothing is wrong with having expectations, right? Because we all have expectations, what it is that we're looking from or expecting from the other individual, from the other person, from the friendships, from the relationships. We all have expectations. So it is good for you if you sit with yourselves and be true and honest with yourselves, and do not be hard on yourself. If there are expectations, if you're in a friendship or you're in a relationship and there are expectations that you have and they are not being met, in the way that you're expecting them, and especially if you had expressed these expectations, because sometimes too we're in these different relationships, spousal, work, friendship, you name it, and we don't state what our expectations are, and then we expect the individual or individuals to know what our expectations are, and then when they are not being met, then things can get real ugly or nasty. So it is imperative to express the expectations, and also to think about it. So that's a few words I want to leave with you today, and I pray that this year will be a year for you that you will experience sweet joy, sweet love, sweet peace, and also to love upon yourself some more. I'm learning this year. This year is something that I'm going to be learning to do, and it's been a challenge over the years. I've been trying real hard, but on my own I realize I cannot do it. I'm always on the go. I'm always moving. I don't know how to slow down really, and so I'm really praying that God will really help me, that I learn to really be still this year, to not be on the fast pace, to always be working, doing something, to learn to sit and just to relax and enjoy life. Even my just not doing anything, it's hard for me to sit and not do anything. But today, but this year rather, that's something I really want to do. And so I really pray and hope too that you will find your purpose if you have not yet discovered who you are. I pray that this year you will discover who you are, that you will walk in value and victory as that woman that God has created you to be. I pray that this year will be a year where you will experience exceedingly and abundant joy. I pray that this year you will experience the goodness and love of God. I pray that this year you will experience sweet friendships, and I pray that this year you will experience a relationship like never before with your spouse, one that will bring more benefits to you than it will cost you. Now remember that I love you, but God loves you more. Shalom. Bye-bye. Thank you for those who have joined me today. I'll be leaving again the information for the other streams that I made mention before, just to have the correct name in the stream. I'll leave it in the description below. So have yourself a great weekend and a fabulous week. Oh, and for those who will be going back to school next week, have a fantabulous, successful, disciplined, committed, and supportive semester. Bye-bye.